Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Hardpoints, episode 10. 10 in a row, boys. We're getting up there. Double digits,
Double digits.
Yeah, double digits. Folks, we've been absolutely grinding with the streams, and we're still on the grind for Hardpoints as well. If you guys are enjoying the podcast, please leave a like on the YouTube videos, and make sure you follow the podcast on wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google Play. This episode, it's a CDL Chicago home series preview. We're all excited about it because there's some big boy teams in this one.
Big boy.
We have big potentials for multiple big boy matchups. And what do we mean by big boy matchups? We got the Huntsmen, right? We got Faze, we got Dallas, and let's be honest, we all just want to see those matches over and over and over again. But moving into this one, I'm going to throw up the points just to update you guys quickly. We brought it up a little bit at the end of last episode, but after Dallas, you can see the points now on your screen if you're watching it on YouTube. We got Huntsmen at 110 in first place, but tied for second. Bunch of teams not far behind. 100 for Dallas, Florida, and Minnesota. And then Faze sitting at number 5. They have 90 points. That's just one match right behind there. So big potential for point swings throughout this Chicago series coming up. And, I'm excited to see how some of these teams, especially Chicago and Dallas, are going to bounce back after not making it to the final in the last one.
Well, I think what's interesting, though, is like it's really the league itself. It's like really top heavy and bottom heavy, right? Like there's not really anyone in the middle. Like the only team that's kind of middle of the pack is like Legion, and I guess you could argue Ravens.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's a chance for swings, but really what I think there's more a chance for is that disparity to be more. Because imagine if Huntsman, Empire, and Faze do well, and what do you have at the bottom? You have Optic here, you have Gorillas here, you have Subliners, you have Ravens. Imagine if they don't perform, like that disparity between top and bottom is just going to expand even more.
Point. All I'm saying is a swing at the top, and I only care about the top teams.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The interesting thing on that, though, is, we've had, 4 tournaments and 4 different winners. So this is a big chance for someone to probably get a second win. I don't know if that trend of a different winner is going to happen each time, but Joe and I was chatting earlier, we were looking at the points. I was like, dude, there's just I feel like we've had so many leagues in the past where it's like a battle, for that 6 spots, a battle in the middle. It's just not really the case right now, but it's still.
Man, look, I think it'll get there, though, because I think
it should, yeah.
Probably top 5 teams will probably stay top 5 for the most part, and then everybody will be on the chase. I mean, Paris, London, Optic, Seattle, potentially New York. I know we're going to get into. I don't know. I think the chase will be there, but I don't think it's set up for it yet.
It's going to take a little bit of time. Like some of these teams made changes, and they haven't had a lot of times to really improve that much yet. There hasn't been a lot of gameplay, to be honest. It's just a weird time right now. Like the delays happen when we transitioned over to online. So those bottom of the barrel teams, the lower half, like it's. I don't know which one of those 2-3 teams is going to bounce back. I don't know which ones.
This is our 5th home series, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. So yeah, I mean we're not even halfway through the season yet.
Yeah. There's still a ton.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So storylines going into the weekend is the top 3 teams. I kind of brought that up already. The big boy matchups, all looking for their second win. Bottom half of the league in as well. Huge weekend, huge turnaround potential for Subliners, Optic, Gorillas, and Surge. Obviously, we went in on Surge a little bit on the last time of what they sort of need to do or our thoughts on what they need to do to sort of turn it around. But we've heard good things about New York. Optic looked better. Is that gonna? We don't. Really
Can they do it again?
Yeah, can they do it again? Gorillas still, need a little bit of time with the new lineup. So I'm interested to see how some of these guys do. And then Faze and Huntsman in the same group. So you got to think we're kind of guaranteed a matchup earlier on. You would think. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I'm excited to see that potentially go down in groups. Go ahead.
Well, I'm curious to Chris, because I remember after Huntsman got their win early, then Faze won their event, and I started hyping up there's going to be this event where Faze should win, this event Huntsman should win, then the clash of the Titans in Chicago, but nothing has played out how we thought it would. You guys fell short to Rocker in a semifinal. Huntsman then got upset by Florida in their semifinal. Do you still, I guess, the coach of Faze, feel a little something extra here going up against Huntsman since it's widely regarded like that 1-2 battle, or not so much anymore?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I would like to see them play because every time we scrim them, it's usually back and forth in the sense they either play really well against us and then we play really well against them, and it kind of goes back and forth for a little bit. But I feel like a lot of teams have gotten much better. We are kind of talking about it before this started. So I don't know if there's a clear cut like. I think back then when you were hyping it up, there was a clear cut 1 and 2 at the time. I think a lot of teams, like you have to respect a lot of teams right now and how well some of these teams have been playing. So I think that kind of takes away a little bit of it, but I still think there's a little something. I mean, I think everyone's kind of been waiting for this potential matchup to happen. So I don't think enough has been taken away at all. So I think it's still a hype match, and I'm super excited to watch it if we get there. And obviously, hopefully things go well and everything. But yeah, that's definitely, it's still a hype match. Yes.
I guess I still feel is if most people think Faze is number 1 still, that'll change if Huntsmen beat you. I guess that's the way I view it. So I still think it's a pretty high match. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. It seems there's a lot more teams with the Mutineers and Rocker and Empire getting their win. It seems like it's a lot more stacked at the top now than it once seemed.
And you also you haven't seen our team play in a while, right? It's been because we didn't get to go to after LA. We fall short in LA. We don't get to go to another event. We obviously didn't have the whole delay with the Corona, and then we were waiting. Then we get the online league. We obviously missed the first online one because we had the off weekend. So you haven't seen us play in a while. So you just haven't really got to see much of us. And then Chicago doesn't win, right? So that definitely, the whole hype train of the sort kind of gets taken away. But I still think it's a potential incredible matchup. So.
I think it's like the matchup everybody wanted to see, and I think we just saw the year going differently, right?
Yeah.
Like what Chris was saying was like, I don't think people thought Minnesota and Florida were going to be as good as they were. Like what we thought were probably 3 good teams, and then others fighting for like 4 through 9 spots, 4 through 8, ended up being just different, right? With Florida getting a win, Minnesota being as good as they are, like. I think the competition is just there. Like if Optic can get better, I mean, we talk about this a lot, Clint. Like how deep actually this league can be. Where nowadays, I think teams are just like you got to get out of groups, right? Like it's one match at a time, which is I know always the mentality, but I know we thought that like they were just gonna sort of beat the teams when the other when Atlanta wasn't there, when Chicago wasn't there, they should be able to win those events, and it just hasn't turned that way.
And I mean, this is the deepest Call of Duty has ever seen a league go in the sense of competition, in my opinion. I don't think there's an argument to it at all.
Oh, bro.
In the days that I played, it does not even
used
close.
to be a goddamn joke. I'll be the one
it used to be a goddamn joke.
You'd play half the teams and you'd be like, all right, we're good.
Yeah.
Wait, no joke. There were players used to wake up, like the players on some of the top teams used to wake up 10 minutes before their match and be like, "Oh, I'm playing so and so." Okay.
Well, it's a little different though because it was like seeded.
I'm not talking the amateur teams. I'm not talking the pool play.
No, I know, but like the way it was seeded though. Like you could have like Faze and Huntsmen in the same like group where it's a little bit different in the structure. But I do agree with your overall point.
But just in general, I talk about this with a few people every once in a while. Like there is 12 teams. It's 60 players. That is not a lot of players. There are a lot of players right now currently. If you took bench players from every single team right now, most of them, mostly bench players, you can form a pretty goddamn good team. It's a team that could compete and win. Seriously, like not maybe not win multiple events, but like win matches. You know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of just good, talented players, and then not even getting me started on some of the path to pro players that aren't there yet. Like they're working their way up. Like there's just so much talent in COD, and the way it's structured, like you have to get out of groups, but even when you get out of groups, man, like life's on the line. You know, like there's no like, oh, we can have one screw up like your single elimination. So this year of Call of Duty has been like awesome to watch for like that reason alone for me. So I think it's fucking awesome.
That's a great point.
Well, you sort of said like, I mean, Joe just talking to if teams get better, like think if Ravens are better, like a lot better this weekend with Shawnee and Optic improve. And Chris, I kind of want you to talk to it, but you've been pretty like on the Subliners hype train a little bit with how much better they've gotten with Mac. If those teams are better, like how much more competitive is? But I'm just curious about Subliners. You've been kind of gassing them up. Like we play together every single day. Obviously, they've been frying.
So yeah, well, obviously I have a lot of love for those guys, right? Tommy, Dylan, all those guys are attached in Zuma. Sorry for the podcast sake, but they've been playing really well, man. So we've been talking about them all year, right? They have like this potential. They have this team. They have the veterans. They have the players, and I think they're last in the league right now in points. Like they're not looking good. They make this roster change, which is a roster change that I love. I love picking up younger players, people that aren't as known, you know, like maybe not as experienced in veteranship, but like someone that's young, talented, and hungry. And Mac Belts is that. I think that's what they needed to this roster. I think they needed someone to come in and have that kind of mentality. Do I know him behind the scenes? No. So maybe I could be wrong, but from what it seems like when we scrim them, from what it seems like, from what I've been hearing and just talking to the players every once in a while. Like, I haven't talked to them too much, to be honest, but they've been looking great. They've been playing great. And I think that change added a lot of life to their team. It probably gives them a little bit more confidence too, right? They probably weren't feeling too confident within each other when they weren't doing well. Now they're doing better in scrims. You have Donnie or Temp. That player right there is one of the best players in the world when he's fired up. Maybe he's got some confidence, like more like confidence in his team, which makes him play better. You know, like I think it just kind of gets the ball rolling. And honestly, I've seen really, really good signs of life. So if you were a Subliners fan, I would be very happy to see them play this weekend. They have a very hard group ahead of them.
I was going to say the problem is they play Chicago round one, then they have to play Atlanta or London.
It's cool, but like it's the way I would view it is like, say they do fall short this weekend, it's not as terrible as it seems. Obviously, they do need to start getting points though, so they kind of need this more than others. But I really do think they got a lot better. I think their players have been playing well, and I'm excited to see them compete. Like those are some of my good friends over there, but they've been doing very, very good.
So you think if they come out and upset one of the big dogs, I mean, the community is going to be online, but you don't think they've gotten that much better with the change?
Yes, I think they've gotten that much better with the change. I mean, that's inevitable. It does like the problem right now is Florida won online. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter what you do here. Even if we were to win, after we've won a LAN, people will say online. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. So like,
well, like Florida got second though before. Right.
Yeah.
I
feel like Subliners though, if they do have a big upset perform well, it would be out of left field.
But that's my point though. Like Florida got second, and you're still hearing online. You're still like they're still not getting
those
credit.
people are idiots.
Yeah, I don't think they're.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So it's like I don't think you're ever gonna. I don't think you're ever gonna get that anyway. But honestly, no, I think they've been playing well. If you're playing well in scrims like that, you don't just go to land and just get absolutely dominated unless something really bad happens. And that's usually a mishap. So like they're just a good team. And I mean, those players like New York online and on land, like their experience, they've done what they've needed to do. Like they don't have to prove themselves. Like it's kind of like when I talked about it last podcast with Crim6, like, oh, Crim6 had to prove himself to win 34 championships. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows what he's doing on land. So like we're calling like people like Clayster and
that's
like
what
Grim,
I
you know
like
what I'm
about
saying?
COD though. We always get a new year, a new game. You do have to reprove yourself.
But you have to prove yourself in the game. But see, that's where maybe that's where the confusion is for me. But when you're talking about online and LAN and stuff like that, Crim6 is a great example because like people are calling Dallas onliners. Obviously, you have Shotzzy and Illy; they're a little bit new. I get that, so I totally understand them on that side of things. But even Shotzzy winning world championships in other games. But like, how does Crim6 have to prove himself as a LAN veteran or like someone that performs on LAN in a new game? Like, it's not the right term is not better online for him. You know what I'm saying? If this was the case, this is hypothetically speaking. The better term is he's struggling in Modern Warfare. If this was obviously the case, he's not. That's not what I'm saying. If someone takes it the wrong way.
I see what you're saying.
But what I'm saying is if he were to be struggling, it wouldn't be like, haha, this guy gets nervous on land. That doesn't make sense.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's where
you have to structure the argument better. It's not.
That's what I mean. I think it's just a poorly worded argument where people like to use that, and that's where I think things kind of maybe fall through. And I've always hated that side. You all know how I feel about that. I hate that shit. So like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think
to play devil's advocate in this conversation, what if Mac Melts comes out and drops 57 kills and 3 hardpoints in a row? Do you call all-liner?
I might. That's more fair. You might, because like obviously
we've never seen him.
I've never seen him. Yeah, there's nothing.
But like if someone, or
he's just
to go off
nasty.
history,
I don't know.
I've seen some clips. He looks nasty. You see that one where he is good the other day in the window? Like,
well, we used to play him when he was on Pharaoh's like amateur team, and he was like one of our scrim partners, and we always used to say like Mac Melts is really good. And yeah, that's the one thing. Like, yes, he's never done it on land, so I see that side of the argument with him. But let's be real, like people were saying about Celium, people were saying about Simp, people were saying I can go down a line, attach. A BZ, like every good player that Zuma, everyone that's come up,
go through it.
Yep.
They all go through it.
The rite of passage.
And then most of them turn into the people that start saying that these guys are better online, which is the worst part. But like
for all those people, so many people ask, how do you make your way up in the Call of Duty community?
Be a liar.
Be a joke, bro.
But all that means is be good. All that means is be good.
Yep. Make all the pros be so upset to play against you. That's step one. It's the rite of passage.
Totally
Yeah.
playing the S&D tournament. Oh, shit!
oh,
These
this
guys,
guy's a
are you
joke.
kidding
This
me?
guy's got
That's when you know-
1,000. He lives it.
And that's when you know you're good, though. Right then and
Yeah,
there, that's when
exactly.
you know you're good. When
That's a
people
start.
fear you online, that's a step forward. When you're good,
Like your
as long as
football,
you're not
right?
cheating or something weird, you're good to go. So like, that's why like, I just history speaking to answer your question. Yes, you can say Mac Melts is an onliner until further notice because I get it,
Right.
but 90% of the time
if not more.
he's gonna do good online.
It translates.
Yeah, you know what I'm
totally.
saying? Like, so maybe he has an event or two where he's a little shaky and then he gets into his zone. Regardless, they always end up being one of the best players if they're that good. So
For sure. Young talent. You love to see how what their potential is going to be moving forward, and we just need to see more Call of Duty. I feel like we just haven't seen
Yes.
that much. We're having all these conversations, right? We just need to see more. We've seen these guys play. Some of these new players play a couple times. Like, we need more of a sample size before we go on with these conversations. But it's still fun to talk about, fun to speculate about. And again, these conversations have been happening in our community for so long. So like, we have a good opinion of them. We've gone through the whole online leagues. We've gone through we've witnessed
done it all.
LAN leagues. Like they're players that are consistently performing well. It translates back and forth. It is what it is at that point.
Yeah.
Moving forward, should we want to talk about some of these teams more before we go into the actual groups and like schedule and stuff? Or
Well,
I think.
Go ahead, Joe.
I said the only team I wanted to talk about was Dallas to touch on. I think this is a big weekend for them. Like I think again what we talked about, what we speculated about, we did not think they were going to be in the same conversation as like the Huntsmen and Faze when you talk about how many home series they would have won. But the fact is they are. You look at this weekend, they aren't in that group of death. They play Optic, then they have to beat Seattle or Gorillas. They should get out. They should get out of this group. Then is the question mark. Like, this could be a huge weekend for the Dallas Empire because they have not beat the Chicago Huntsmen. They have not beat Atlanta Faze. If they want to cement themselves as one, if not the best team this weekend, this is that weekend, right? Because they're all three are here. It's not just about Atlanta. It's not just about Chicago. Dallas is in the mix now. And I just think for the Empire, first of all, get out of your group, which you 100% should. And we'll talk about how weak that group is. But I mean, just to sort of redefine, I think, the year, because they've unfortunately have been defined by the fact they can't beat those two teams.
Well, if you take online out of the equation, which I know it's tough to do, this would be the most impressive tournament win probably this year, just because you have all the top dogs there.
Yeah.
Has to be. It's like looking at how the bracket it should play out, quotations around that. But like getting a 1 seed out of that group, it's like so scary. Like most likely you're gonna get a Chicago or Atlanta, right? Like
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
matter.
Getting a 1 or 2 seed, it doesn't matter.
They're gonna have to probably be both of them.
Exactly. It's actually crazy to think about. But
yeah,
it's a good point. Like they've been what's the word I'm looking for? They've been the boogeymen for Dallas, right? They haven't been able to get past those teams. So you watch both of these teams in Dallas and Chicago. I guess I don't know if struggle is the right word, but they don't make the final, right? How much is that going to affect their mental state? How much of that was a cop out to the online and the servers and stuff like that? Like, you guys know what I'm saying, right? Like, are they gonna have a mature response to that shortcoming, or are they gonna say that was stupid? Like, whatever, bro, we're fine. Which side are they gonna take? And I feel like whatever team has a more mature response, like from top to bottom, are the ones that are gonna be able to turn around and take the win.
Well, I would hope like this is kind of where, to me, like I think Rambo helps a lot, like just to get their heads on straight.
You would think.
Like. I mean, that's where that would come in. Like, he's always been a very like mental dude. So I just think having him in that room should maybe help them. Like, obviously, they're probably super frustrated. Again, they lost to Minnesota. And what have we learned about Minnesota is they learn from their opponents very quickly. They make adjustments. They, alter their map vetoes. And that's how they were able to beat them. Like, that's just, we've learned that from Minnesota. It's not like they lost to a team they shouldn't have lost to. They lost to a very good Minnesota team. So I just think whatever it was, that should be where like Ray can help them get back on the same page and, I just have them focus. So, again, we touched on it a lot last week, or last Hardpoint. Hardpoints, you have to deal with this. Every team is dealing with this. We have to deal with this. You have a chance here, no matter what, to win the weekend, and that's it. That's all you can focus on, right? Like all the other BS stuff. That's it. Yeah, that's
we're not even
it.
halfway. Get used to it, bro.
Yeah, get used to it, right? Like
grow up, like some of these people.
Like, and we don't know when this is going to stop. I doubt we're going to be able to travel and host events until probably maybe end of summer. Like if we're lucky, end of summer. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, to go to your point too, like I feel like this league is also like a mental fortitude side of things of just like how you handle it. Like, the way like this is a good way to judge like the Huntsmen, obviously, in the sense like they recently have just fell short, right? They lost obviously at the last tournament. They didn't do as good as they want. They still did okay. They made out of the groups and they fall short to Florida. Like, see how they bounce back and like how everything goes for them, because obviously they fell short now twice in the sense of their standards of obviously wanting to win everything. I think that's what every team wants to do. So it really comes down to, like, are they going to bounce back to and come down to like, all right, like it's time to like get better and that there's no online cop out. Same thing for Dallas. Same thing for every team. Like any team that falls short or any team that's going into this, like if you're still talking about the online thing right now, I feel like you're just doing yourself just such a disservice. Like in the sense, like what you guys just said, we have a long time of this probably. Things could be much worse, but like you should not be using your energy at all or your effort to focus on stuff that you cannot change. Yeah. And you're not going and curing the damn world and fixing everything. And there you go. You can play on land college. You know what I'm saying? It's not happening. Like, so it's like, you should be focused on, like it, you should be focused on,
we want to be on land.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you should be focused on what you can do. And like, obviously things could suck and like things could be better. And, I get it, but it's not always fair in your favor sometimes. And that's just what it is. So having like the right mental side of things right now will help you inevitably for this entire year. And there's still a lot of money on the line. We obviously don't know if Champs is on land or whatever. No one knows, but like, there's a lot of money on the line, and and that's what's important. You get paid to do a job, and the job is to be the best COD player you can be, and that's all you can do right now. So I think that like this year will show a lot of like that like mental side of things too. So we'll see.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. So for like Dallas, Chicago, and Atlanta, I want us to pick out like one thing for each of those teams. Obviously, we haven't seen Faze in a while, but like Huntsmen, the glaring issue going back to the last event, the last tournament, was multiple players on Chicago. Their S&D stats were horrendous. 0.7s. I forget who it was off the top of my head. I think it was like Gunless, Scump, and was it Formal possibly? I don't really know. And then obviously Formal had a, I guess, lackluster event too. On the Dallas side, what would you guys say was like a glaring issue for them that they need to work on? If there is one. If there's not, we can move on. But Chicago, like that was the one thing that stuck out for me from Chicago.
When they lost, my thought was just, they lost to a good team. But I
mean, Dallas, like they go game 4 with Gorillas. They go to a game 5 like with Toronto. I don't want to say if. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they got through their group. It's hard to like judge that because it did feel like Toronto was playing better.
Clay also said he had just a shit event.
Like,
right.
He came out
and said it was on him. Yeah. Especially with how he has been playing. I mean, we've been gassing him all year. He's been one of the more consistent players. Like he's been great. I mean, I think he took a lot of the pressure off the team to saying, "Hey, I was shit this weekend."
Well, yeah. I mean, and it's kind of, I go back to this a lot too, and this isn't like an excuse for no one winning or anything, but it's also not easy. Like you fall short in a series like 3-2, or you have like that one-off series. Like back in the history of Call of Duty, even like for me specifically in my career, I had a lot of losers bracket runs. I had a lot of mishaps where those mishaps led to us sitting in the hotel yelling at each other like, what the hell are you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. We got to fix this. And then coming back the next day and then making a 9-series run and then ending up in the finals. That doesn't exist anymore.
We've all done that.
So it's like,
we love loser bracket runs.
No, that seriously. And like, that's a big thing in Call of Duty that's changed drastically. And it's made it so much different where you guys kind of know how it is. Like you guys have competed. You have that one good Sunday, man. I mean, look at the last championship I won, the $50,000 season 1 playoff thing. We had a good Sunday. We weren't the best team there. I will say it to the end of the day, I don't care. My team was not the best team there. It's what it is. Like those clutches I had and stuff, yeah, they were cool. If we reran that back Monday, we're probably losing the series. But we didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for Dallas, it's like they came out and honestly, that was what, Sunday? That was their first only match. They came out and they lost to a good team. Like that's going to happen. That is inevitable, going to happen. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, like I don't know. Like it's just there's a lot of good Call of Duty teams. I don't really think I would have watched that series as a Dallas fan or a Dallas player. Maybe yes. I'm sure if you go really nitpicky and analyze stuff, they could have done something better, but not like it's glaring, major, consistent. Like, bro, we always do this. We have to stop. You know, like it's none of that. Like I think they came out and they lost to a good team, and it happens. It's not like it's not like they didn't make out their pools in an easy pool or something. Like that's where it's like, all right, what's going on?
And then for you, one more question for you, Crowder, since we touched on the other two teams. One question for you, high level, surface level. What's like one or two things your team in particular, or if you would just want to comment, like what have you guys been, I don't know, focusing on a little bit more than others?
I mean, my thing for this game, the way I view this game, I mean, obviously this is like my own opinion, is just this game, in order to keep it consistent, some of the spawns could get wacky. Some of you like you have to be very, very perfect in the sense of the way you play this game, because like there's a lot of things that you can't control sometimes.
Right.
So like for me and my team, and I think for a lot of teams too, it's just like making sure you're taking the right routes at the right time. Like just doing like the system of Call of Duty that you and your team have come up with, like to win these games and not making those mistakes. Because like you have to play damn near perfect.
So just consistency.
Just consistency in the way we're playing. Like the smart plays for us are like really like what we need, you know, like to take those right routes. And the joke around the community right now is like the route man gets paid. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Like, it's true though. Like, you know, like those guys,
with
those
squad spawns, that's just the way it is. If
that's
you sneak through and you flip the spawns, everybody spawns there, and we know how hard it is to flip. Like,
and that goes to my point. If you use that phrase, if you sneak through and everyone spawns there, if you don't play perfect and you don't pick up those lanes in the right times, and someone does sneak through, it doesn't matter who you are, you're losing. So like, I feel like that's definitely a big focus of us and stuff, is just to kind of play like goddamn near perfect COD, because you have to in this game. Did
you run into an issue with how you guys were frying everybody and not losing maps? Like, did you feel they took the foot off the gas a little bit, or like was the Minnesota loss a bit of a wake up call for any of the players?
No, I think so the one thing I can say with confidence with my team, and I hopefully can always say this because this is like a huge thing, I think all of you guys will attest to this, their effort in scrims is like never an issue. Like obviously everyone has bad days, and you know, like every once in a while you'll have a day where people get on and like it's just not the same vibe. But like confidence and effort and all that kind of stuff has never been an issue with us. I don't think we've really taken foot off the like I think teams that were just a little bit behind in the beginning of the year. I think that's why you saw like in the beginning of the year like us being very good, Chicago kind of being a little head. You know what I mean? Like I think teams have just like gotten better, and I think you see that in every game in every year. Like you see a team kind of take off, right? They get that edge, and then they win 2 events or they win an event, you know what I mean? And everyone watches their gameplay. And I'm not saying that like everyone watched ours, but I'm saying like everyone starts watching the VODs back, because that's when it kind of gets serious, and you have like actual LAN experience where everyone's going hard and you see what they're going to and their go-to plays and tendencies, and people get better. So like I honestly, it goes back. I think there's just a lot of good competition. Teams got better, and this was what it is. I think right now this year, it's going to come down to like a lot of skill and everything. And that's what, and like effort. And that's why I keep saying this mentality side of things is you got to get your goddamn game perfect, because if you don't, and someone sneaks by you, you're losing, you know? Right. And, but it's cool though to watch though too, because you get to analyze the mini map. That's like my favorite thing to do, is you can watch all these plays and like see how easy it is to avoid or see how easy it is to perform these plays if the other team doesn't. Like, so yeah, I just think teams are good, and playing perfect in this COD is more important than ever, just because of how some of the game kind of plays out sometimes with the squad spawning and everything.
How competitive the league is too.
Yeah,
totally. All right, cool. Let's move on to some schedule and showing you guys the bracket. So first up, popping up the schedule, bang, starts on Friday. Obviously, we got the Royal Ravens versus Faze, Seattle versus Gorillas after that, Dallas Empire versus OGLA, and then to follow up, we got the Huntsmen versus New York. Bang. We got the groups and the brackets up there now. Obviously, you guys can see in Group A, it's London, Atlanta, Chicago, New York for Group A. Group B, that's a spicy one. Group B, Seattle, LA Gorillas, Dallas, OGLA for Group B. Not as spicy, but you never know what can happen.
Dude, Group A, yikes.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, Group AZ, and again, what we talked about with Group B, like this is an opportunity for like Dallas should get out. This is an opportunity for the Surge and Optic like to have another good weekend. Heck, even Gorillas
This
like
is needed.
Okay, to that
It's
point though, if Optic and Surge don't come out, are they done? Is a change happening if they don't make it out of this group? I feel like it has
I would hope so.
You would
I
think
would
so.
hope so.
I would say yeah.
Yeah, I would
Well,
hope so.
the changes already happened with Seattle.
Well, does anyone
Well,
here think that?
no, I'm saying like
they not
I think
anymore?
if it doesn't work out anymore, I think you have to see like a real change.
Yeah,
Like not like a substitute change. I'm thinking like a trade.
Oh yeah. No, that's what,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. 100%. Like I think if Surge and Optic fall flat here and don't get out of groups, there has to be something. Well, maybe a little bit more drastic for Surge than Optic. Optic might be a one-person thing, but I feel like something's got to happen. Something's got to break.
Yeah, if those two teams don't make it out, I think with how things are going from like all three of those teams right now, other than Dallas, absolutely need to get out because we talked about this, I think, in one of the first episodes of this podcast or maybe the second one. Starting this year off slow sucks. You don't want to be playing catch up all year because there's going to be brackets or like groups where like right now you guys are talking about how Group A is pretty tough, right? You don't want to be in that group when you're down 70 CDL points and you have to come out of that group in order that, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to be there. So this is like life on the line for these three, in my opinion. I know we're not halfway through the season. There is a long season, but you just don't want to be down.
It's a group that they have to get wins.
You have to. This is your opportunity, right?
Yeah,
this
it's
is your
an
opportunity to stomp on it because I keep going back to the fact one of these teams do get out on Saturday or so they get to Sunday and they get the top four. One match, you're in the finals. You know, you win a search. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're not the better team at the time. You're still struggling. I get it. But you win one of those matches, you're in the finals, you get a bunch of CDL points, you're right back in the mix. So there's so much opportunity for these teams, but this is like you need it, you know, like as a competitor, the pro side of me talking, like when I was a player, like this is it, right? Like this is the moment where you need to take advantage because you might not get this kind of like group right now again.
It's like all these potential changes kind of feeds into the top heavy with the way the points are right now too, because like these changes are going to set these teams back a little bit further, you would think. So it's just like it gets scarier and scarier. But again, we're not even halfway through. If you're going to go for something big and we don't see any like promising signs here, one of these teams is probably going to be chalked. It has to be. You got to make some big plays. There's too much. There's too much talent sitting around, in my opinion. Right? Like
we don't know what's been going on with Optic. Like there's just been rumors with Chino coming in. I don't know. So right away, I think there's a change. The Seattle side, I think we touched on it a lot last week. It's almost just like I don't know if this group of players mixes. Plus the fact that like you have Octane, right? Like. I don't know if you have to rebuild, do a Gorillas and get a bunch of AM. I don't exactly know, but they need results, and I think they need them fast. So that's kind of where I'm at with Seattle, and I think they know that too. I think they do know it's a big weekend. And again, we touched on Apathy just having a kid. It's a big life moment. So I think the last home series, you have to understand that. So you would expect more from him because he did not play well.
I mean, to touch on Seattle too. So, like, I think when you see Seattle, I know Maven gave him a hard time last podcast with what was your wording? The most
I said they could go down as the most disappointing team in the history of Call of Duty esports.
Yeah, and the thing with that is just like you see these names on this team, and you just see how like they have so much success, so much veteranship. Like you think like, oh, this is going to be a team that like maybe they don't have the young talented superstar currently, you know, like obviously you have Octane, but like not like someone on their peak right now, but you have so much experience. You thought like they would be able to kind of get through some of these things, but they're struggling. Like if they were to come out of this group, I mean, not come out of this group and get last again or seventh, like I think like at that point, what Joe kind of said, I kind of agree. Like it's not like any of these players are bad players in any means. It's just like they might not just mesh well together just with like how things work. I don't know what.
But think
You wanna-
about what you said. Dude, it's crazy when one of you said like maybe you have to go the AM route and pick up AMs like Gorillas.
Yeah.
But like when Pat was so bad, like he was bottom KD every single event. Like when and you kind of saw it coming for Pat, which is how he's been performing the last couple of years. So when like an amateur came in for Pat, I think everyone was sort of like, all right, it kind of needed to happen. But imagine, it's hard for me to think like Karma off the team for sibilance or something. Like it's crazy to like even wrap my head around compared to like maybe. And I'm not saying that it should happen or it will happen. We'll have to see how they perform, but it's kind of crazy to think about.
Well,
like,
it just goes back to like the point.
Karma or somebody like, whew.
It goes back to the point though when we talked about this team when they formed. It's just like who's going to step up and help Octane, right? Like that's just kind of what it comes down to. Is these guys, someone as silly as it is, needs to be more selfish. They just need to put more kills on the map. It's just what it is. Like the gunny's got to come up. Right?
They're all super valuable players.
Right. Exactly.
But together, if I think if this was like their last event where they don't do well, I think it's kind of clear cut that like even though they're all valuable players and they're all great players, I have literally nothing wrong to say any of them. I just think they might not mesh well together. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they can all go
at this point. They don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think they all go their separate way in a sense. Like if they were to like kind of break up or make trades or whatever happens, and I think they all thrive. You know what I'm saying? But like just not together. And that's happened before. It's not crazy to see, but it's just what it is. And obviously,
I have a super speculative question.
Okay.
Would Surge have been better with Enable than Pander? Or would they have been the same?
It's been like the same things. Like I mean, the results have been almost identical, right?
Right. Do you think that matters? Do you think someone like Enable, his, I don't know, leadership and experience, do you think that would have paid off over time compared to the roster change to Pander?
To answer that from
totally
my side
guessing,
of things,
right? You're, who knows?
Yeah, this is totally obviously speculating. I love Enable. He is one of my best friends. Obviously, super biased when I talk towards his way, but to kind of go against that, he wasn't being that leader and anything of the sort. That's kind of why he's not playing right now, right? I think the whole thing with him when he went on the podcast was his lack of effort is kind of why is where he is.
Yeah.
And he admitted that openly, and he apologized. He said it was a stupid thing, you know, like he went through it and he acted like an adult, and he said that once like his time comes again, he's not doing it. But I don't think it would have changed if he stayed around for that reason, unless like they sat him down and said like, yo, step it up or you're gone. And then he was like, oh shit. And then like flip that switch. Cause I've seen Enable being a coach of his, obviously last year, in that mode. And when he's in that mode, he's one of the best people you can ever ask for on your team. So yes and no, I don't think so. Cause I don't really think that's what they're missing. I think their biggest issue obviously is glaringly S&D, right? Like they're struggling in the S&D. And I think they just kind of need like that one, like a young and hungry player, maybe even an S&D like specialist in a sense that is willing to learn S&D, like someone like Illy. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of guys that are maybe not the best at respawn yet when they don't really need that because they're winning them here and there, but they need something a little bit more spice to the roster in the sense of S&D and all that kind of just like that young talent to it, in my opinion. But so I personally don't think it would have changed.
I think the
much.
Same way. I don't think much of changed either, but just, I don't know. I like to look back at these roster changes now that a decent amount of time has gone by and be like, would that maybe have been different? Probably not. I think their issues go a little like sort of above all of their heads, if that makes any sense. But
they just went the sub route, right? Pander was a sub. Good friend of Octane's. Where like some of these other teams are just taking risks on AMs. Like they don't even care about their subs. Like they just we have subs, but like it is weird. But it's because everybody signed the subs, and then 2 months later we're like, huh.
Well, no one
we don't really want to use our subs. We'd rather have somebody else. So we're just burning money.
That's what I was about to say. That's
we're just burning money as an org, which is probably great.
Well, in hindsight, like when you look at Call of Duty, no one's ever thought of a sub or ever kind of had that situation. And also, like in the selfish sense of things, if you're a player, you don't want sibilance sitting on your bench.
No.
Sure.
Seriously. So like, but like that's obviously an organization decision that shouldn't go up to the players. You shouldn't be deciding who's on your bench, dude. So, but yeah,
that's why I've been roasting Ultra the whole time.
So people just didn't really get, most of their subs weren't picked up to replace someone if things were going wrong. Most of their subs were kind of just picked up to be picked up.
Well, and to be fair, a lot of the young players that got picked up, no one knew they were going to be this good at the time. Like when they picked the actual subs, I don't know if anyone was frying like they are now.
Yes and no. I mean, some of them, yes. I could have told you like Mac Melts and Sibilance were going to be really good, in my opinion. Sibilance is not picked up as a sub. Obviously, he's on my academy team, but like I'm saying, like if you paid attention to last year at all, and like it was pretty easy to see Mac Melts coming up, in my opinion. I heard a lot of about Mac Melts 2 years ago, and I'm not nearly as involved. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I feel like you could have heard about him.
Well,
Would
it's
it have
just
been
one
a
of those
huge risk
things where,
picking him up?
like,
Maybe, but still.
a lot of the orgs, like, they found a team and they just asked the team, and what are the players going to say? I think A, to your point, and B, to the other point, they're trying to get their boys paid. Like, as stupid as it is, it's, yo, dude, you want to make 50 grand, just, ride the pine? Yeah, I would love that.
It's a win-win. You
like,
hook up your friend, you have someone non-threatening to take your spot. Like that sounds awesome.
Exactly.
Why would you not? Why
maniac.
Why would you not do that?
Yes. Like, exactly. Why would you say no to that?
Yeah. So like on the that's just a big problem. Like
so that's the org side though. It's like a lot of these guys jumped in. They didn't select a good enough GM to pick up good enough AMs who had enough research, and then even some of the GMs had no idea. Like, they didn't pay attention to the AMC, which is their own fault. So like, this is now a problem where, like, you're Seattle. Like, again, I don't think the Pander move was a bad one. I think Pander's been playing fine, but it's that a lot of teams in their situation, they would have went to some young star and just hope he went off. That was it. Like, Pander was so deep, and he's very deep into his career, right? Like, it's not like we know he puts up numbers and yada yada. He's trying to play correct team Call of Duty. And what happens a lot of times is these guys get picked up, these younger stars, and they just get told to do whatever the hell they want to do because the team needs help in the slaying. Like, that's what they need help for. So it's simple as that, is where Panda was picked up to help, like, sort of the team get better. Some of these other AMs are just told to get picked up and just do your thing. Like, we picked you up to be a star, so do whatever you want.
It's great advice to some of these pros that might not be playing as well, that are more tenured. Like, be more selfish. Like you need some kills on the board. So like, when you look at some of these vets that are putting up 0.9s or 1.0s, whatever you want to call it, like, at a certain point, you can only have so many of those on the team.
Exactly.
Someone else needs to drop a 1.1. You need some more kills somewhere. Obviously, there's a better way of doing that. If you're playing more correct, it's going to lead to more kills throughout the team. Yada 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 yada. Boring answer, but at the end of the day, where are the stats coming from?
That's right. That was my answer.
I mean, the fact is like, we talk about stats a lot, and there's obviously like ways to play that like hurt your team. But the fact is, like, I just look at Minnesota, or you look at Florida, like, their ARs, what their like God RX is doing. That is not easy to do. Every single map to do what he's doing. Like, maybe he does play selfishly for kills, but that is still very difficult to do. Think about how many gunfights he has to win to do that, to get to his positions. That makes it easy. So I don't know. I think just that's like what Seattle's missing a little bit, and we've touched on that a lot, is someone on that squad has to get a little bit more selfish.
So, well, yeah. First of all, just to like to state it, God RX is top 5 in the game, and I don't think that's arguable. I think he's been incredible. I think he's been this year. I think he's been incredible. He's a good person. He's a good dude. He's been grinding for years now. So to see him like really perform this year is really awesome. But off topic, to be kind of like the devil's advocate here, you guys keep using like be more selfish. Like, yes, I see what you're saying, but like, obviously, like, also competing and putting yourself in the game, like, you can't just kill whore or just like play for kills and win, and like, you know what I'm saying, like, and play like so it's also shows you, like, this isn't like a knock on anybody, but like that like young, hungry, kind of talented mindset, like, it is not easy in this league. The competition that is in this league, the 60 players, I always go back to it, of how good these teams are, to consistently put up these numbers anymore, because you have to play in the system where you can't just like zone in one map and just get kill, especially if you're using a sub, right? So it's like really hard. Like if you put it like Seattle, like you have Slack, he can't just absolutely play for himself because his team will probably lose. So like you have to play correctly and put up these numbers. And that's where it becomes like some of these young and more talented players that have come up recently, they're just like freaks of nature and they're just really, really good.
I would agree in Hardpoint. And Dom, you can have someone stack.
Dom, I'm talking Dom.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm talking Hardpoint.
I get
Dom, I get Dom's different. I'm talking Hardpoint because it's obviously 2 of the 5 game modes.
Yeah.
And it's where like a slang is like really, really heavy. Dom, I completely agree. But like in Hardpoints, like it's tough to put up that like 1.2 consistently with the sub. Like very few subs this year. I'm sure if you go back and do it, aren't putting up those. And but the thing is like you need those guys on your team, in my opinion, to be consistently top 4 in this game. And that's I kind of think you see that with like you have Rocker right now. Alex is like one of the only subs I think that are putting up like a positive KD.
Yeah.
Like consistently, like a good KD, not just like a 1.01.
Right.
You know I mean, and then like you look at my team, like Sim's been doing incredible with the sub. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you have like at the top level Envoy, like, you know, there's always like that one guy, GodRx, even though he's on Minnesota, is not a sub player, he's a flex. Like you have these players that are playing pretty correctly, playing really aggressively, and still getting the kills. And that's like something that, in my opinion, is almost, you can't just say like play more selfish, because that's almost playing like more selfless sometimes, but just being really good at it. You know,
I just think though that a lot of those guys have the same mindset, and at some points, I just think it's one of those things when you get into a position where you can just like stop for a second. Like, I don't know, just from like my point of view, because I do think there are some times where like it went through it when I was a part of my career where like you get to a spot and you're like, now I have to go, like I have to be the first one out, I have to bait, I have to do this, where like
I know that
sometimes it's good to just get to a certain power position and stop an L trigger. And I think that's what I'm coming to, where, you know, a guy like Apathy, I know, just loves to go. Slack is probably the same way. They love to just fly and go, but because they've been playing that way in their systems for so long, where I think now it's the time, because they have quicker players on their team where they can, in certain positions, stop and play for a kill or two.
That's true. I mean, I guess to go back on my own point too, in my career, I've definitely felt that way, and I totally see where you're coming from.
You put that pressure on yourself mentally.
I also do think people like Alex, like Simp, like Envoy, like I can go down the whole list of people. Like there's not like I can go down a long list. I honestly think like those people are just freaks of nature in the sense.
No, they can win gunfights, other people can't.
That's what I'm saying, and I think that's also super necessary. It's just I do get what you're saying, and I do like, yes, like you can slow down, you can play for more kills. Like I think my biggest eye opener in this argument too is like thinking back of Enable last year. He was ass when I first joined 100 Thieves. He was playing terrible. He will even tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But we sat down, watched his gameplay a lot, and it was kind of like what you just said. Like he was just sprinting too much. He was just going for no reason. Like
that's the stuff I want to talk about. Like,
but like at the same time, like I wouldn't say like Enable went from like doing really bad. He started doing really well at the end of the year. I was like, he was one of the reasons we got way better. But like in general, I don't think he was putting up 1.2s all of a sudden. Like I think that level is like a different level of like, whoa, this guy is this.
No, but they're putting up like 0.7s.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. No, I see what you're saying. So like, I think there's a middle ground in that. But I think at the same time, like some of these guys that are doing that, like
my point,
I don't think people realize how hard it is. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
When you talk about like play styles and stuff like that, like yes, Alex is a freak of nature. He's in a really good system and he's having a lot of success as a sub. Like, do I think Alex individually as a Call of Duty player is that much better than someone like Apathy?
Right now he is. But it like in terms of just pure talent, talent, I don't know. Like,
well, some of the stuff's in App, dude.
Maybe App needs to slow the fuck down and get 10 less deaths. That's something easier that you can like. You know, it's more than that. But
App's a weird guy to use.
Yeah, App's a weird one because he's always been.
You have seen App in one lifespan of a game. I pulled the name
out of my hat, but yeah.
No, I know, but like App, you have seen in one point of a game, like this guy's untouchable. How how does this guy ever lose? And then like you'll see him like next event sometimes and be like, you know, like he didn't do that good. Yeah. But like the thing is when App is here, man,
his peak, right?
We all know App. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole joke last year was like Champ's Apathy is no joke to be played with, and that's why he's won 2 world championships. Like it's kind of true though. He does really at the end of the year really turn up. So he's a little bit tougher to judge, but yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. I totally get it.
Maybe
though.
I should have said something like slacked, right? I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe that's a better one, but
I totally see what you're saying.
obviously App's always been like a up and down player. I don't know. It's just interesting to talk about like what you can do as an individual, as a team on a higher level. Like it's tough to get better, and like you don't really get that many chances in like this style of tournaments to show your improvements, and you could sit there and scrim and do really well. I don't know. It's just fun shit to talk about because it's hard at the end. Like this is
it's
just
not easy.
It's top level shit, man. To show what your improvements are against the best players in it, like especially now in an online environment. It's hard, man. So,
bro, I wasn't even like what I was saying too. That was no knock on any player to make that clear. I'm kind of saying it in the sense of how hard what Alex and people are these guys and people are doing right now.
They're
to
freaks.
me, I have so much respect in the sense of being that good at your craft. It's actually insane to watch. It's actually awesome to watch. And that's why I think like those guys right now are like keys to their team in so many ways that like a lot of people currently, at least from what we're seeing, is just they're just not doing it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. It's not easy at all.
Yeah, you can't just like watch the gameplay and be like, oh yeah, let's do that. It's like
no, that's what I'm saying. Seriously,
like
it's like no, this guy is just really good right now. And of course, you're gonna work at it and try and perfect your craft and play tens and stuff. But yeah, no, it's tough stuff.
Totally. All right. So we're all excited to see how some of these teams can improve upon their lackluster gameplay. To be honest, they have a tough test in some scenarios. Moving forward through our talk, do we want to, I guess, start getting into predictions?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna throw up the bracket right here once again. Boom. I guess we could just go right into we'll do the Group A matches and then go to the Group B matches. Say the two teams that we think are gonna make it out of each group, and then overall winner like we usually do. I don't know who wants to start. Clint, you go first.
Go ahead, Big
Okay,
Clint.
so are we just picking our we're not going through each round one matchup. We're just picking our winners to come out.
Let's just do predictions.
Yeah, that's fine. I can't go other than Faze Huntsman right now. Chris, I know you're gassing up Subliners, but I don't have it in me to do. And Ravens, I haven't seen play since 2019, so I'm gonna go Faze Huntsman. Group B, Empire Optic. I still think that's a safe bet, even though I'm worried about Optic with I don't know whatever the hell was going on with them leading into this, but I don't have any faith in Surge right now. I have zero faith in Gorillas. The only thing that makes me feel okay about Surge is the fact that their first round's against Gorillas, and the only 2 wins they have in the entire league is 2 times against the Gorillas.
Very true.
Maybe they'll be able to win that and get a first round matchup. But I feel better about Empire Optic, so I'm going Faze Huntsman and Empire Optic.
Okay, I'll go.
Chris, we're leading. I think we're tied.
Yeah.
Don't remind me, dude.
Let's go, Maven. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
So should I keep it consistent with you? So
Is it like close?
We go down.
No, collusion. No. No.
Me and Maven are gonna stay ahead all year. No.
Stop.
So I mean, I hate these groups when my team plays.
Yeah.
Because like obviously like
Just
no matter
pick 'em, dude. You think you're, you know?
Okay, so I have to go with my team, of course. You know the boys.
And anyone with a fucking brain.
No, I know, but you can't say this without being biased.
You're
Come on,
biased.
it doesn't matter if my team looks the best or the worst.
Jesus.
It's the worst. So whatever.
Corpse is taking Faze.
So I'm gonna go Faze, and I'm gonna go Huntsman. But I'm telling you right now, I haven't seen too much of the Ravens with Shawnee and stuff. So like I'm not mentioning them. I just don't really know much yet. You know, like we'll see that. But I would not be surprised if the Subliners show up to play. That's all I'm saying. I have a lot of faith in them this event. I'm going with that. I'm not picking them because
you're giving them,
but
you're gassing them a little bit.
A lot of credit. A lot of credit. Don't make me look stupid. And then
Repeat's hard, bro.
Empire. I'm not going Surge due to S&D as I always do.
I don't think it's that hard, honestly.
I'm going Gorillas, bro.
Empire
Gorillas.
I don't think it's that hard either.
Well, it looks like I'm going to be in first place after this weekend.
Well, that's what I'm going against Maven because I'm not colluding, and listen. I probably think Optics. I think Optics is a safer pick. I think Optics is a safer pick, but I want to get ahead here. I want to try and get. Come on, Gorillas are gonna do it.
I tried to risk it last week and I got smoked.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going for the risk here.
I'm going for the risk. Joe, you want to pick the Surge? I can see it in your face, dude.
I actually was. I'm not even kidding. And So
Wow.
obviously,
I
I'm
like your
going
statistics
Chicago
about the U's,
Faze, but I am going to Yo Surge. I think the reason is simple. It's desperation time for this Seattle team. I think Apathy's going to play better. They beat Gorillas, and I'm very nervous about Optic Gaming LA, actually. So, yeah, I am going to Yo Surge, especially when you talk about Optic plays Dallas round 1. And I think they're going to be tilted after that. And
That's a fair
yeah, so
point.
they're gonna have to lose 2 match, or they're gonna have to win 2 matches. So I'm gonna go Optic or I'm gonna go Surge because I think they just have to do it. This has to be it. We've talked it up so much, so I'm gonna go Dallas and Seattle.
I like it.
Okay.
I like
I
it
think
a
that's
lot.
where they get to. That's probably where they stop.
Yeah.
But this just has to be a good weekend for the Surge.
Gotta get some points.
Again, we've talked about like they've played everybody so close. I think they're just going to finally put 2 series together. And it's not against the best teams. It doesn't have to be against the best teams. But again, I'm just worried about Optic Gaming right now. And I do not think online helps them because we all of us know their team mentality and how quickly they can get tilted. I can just
Same
imagine.
for Seattle though. Like, dude, if they play each other, it's just gonna be the 10 people just bitching.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
The whole match.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Oh, I guess that's
Hey,
true.
at least they're
That
both
makes-
West Coast, so if they're playing each other, maybe servers will be good.
Seattle's actually
All right.
all over the world.
Idea
so.
for a CDL
Oh,
content.
that's true.
Idea for a CDL content piece.
Okay.
Like a content piece after the fact of which team bitches more throughout a series and keep a counter.
Oh. If
That'd
you
be-
want to watch Optic, just go ahead and watch my Warzone stream every day. It'll be a similar level of bitching,
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Alrighty. My turn. Atlanta, Chicago, easy peasy, and I'm going Dallas and Optic. Yep.
There we go,
Dallas
team.
and Optic
There we
as
go,
well.
team. Put the
Boo.
brands.
You went with Maven,
I know.
dude.
I went with Maven.
I
can't believe
Ugh,
you.
I feel gross. My reason for picking Optic is TeeP came in my chat today, and I said, "Yo, TeeP, you gonna stop sucking?" He's like, "Yo, bro, I dropped to 1.1. I'm back." So that's why I picked Optic Gaming. Because TeeP.
I
Did you
just had
guys
to
see
make
that
up
interview
points.
with him the
I
other day?
actually think Optic's gonna win, but I just had to make a point, so I'm going Seattle.
Yo, did you watch the interview the other day that Optic tweeted out with TJ?
Oh, like all of his. No, that's just like all like takeouts from like a bunch of different. Yeah, dude, it was hilarious.
He kills me, man.
And then
What'd he
we
say
gotta
he
pick a
was-
winner, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
still have to do winner. So we'll go back
yeah.
around the board.
All right, I started right. I'm going Atlanta Faze. I think at this point, I think it's impossible for me not to pick them, no matter what tournament they're at, no matter what competition. I think we've learned that anybody can win, but Faze are the favorite for me until something catastrophic happens. They are the top team.
Okay. Crowder's picking Faze. Joe.
I'm also going Faze. It's been a while since we've seen them. I think they're motivated. Yeah, I mean, they have 1 loss this season. It's to a very solid Minnesota team that prepped hard for them. I think they will probably make some changes into the vetoes and whatnot, because I know that's like if you're a team, what did Minnesota do? How did they beat them? Type thing. You're just going to watch that, and I imagine they're going to make changes for that. So I'm going to go Atlanta Faze.
They've lost 2 maps if you take Rocker out of the equation.
Yeah.
2.
Yes.
Dose. I don't know 2 in any other languages.
I'm picking Faze for the win as well. I think these online respawns are always going to be messy, scrappy, weird games. I think Faze is one of the only teams that will actually innovate appropriately for S&D as the year goes on. And I feel like the players on the team, along with coaching staff, like actually are going to be able to get the players to change their looks in S&D. I feel like a lot of teams struggle with that, and I feel like this is kind of a hard game in S&D to change a lot, right? It's hard to innovate. It's mostly just like timings with your tacticals and working bomb sites and stuff, but I feel like I don't know, I feel like some of these teams have gotten in a rut when it comes to S&D, and they just have like their go-tos and they don't really go away from them.
That was going to be my point with like Chicago right now. Like their S&D, last weekend did not look good.
No, not
And
at all.
you look at like
2-1 though. Like I think
they were 2-1, but like
I know. It was like,
well, they were 2-1 the weekend. What do you mean?
they were 2-1 in search, weren't they?
I
They
don't know
played 3
about that.
searches. They played 3 searches. They won 2. I mean,
All
one
right,
was a full sale,
sale.
but no, I get what you're saying. Like, they
Oh.
didn't look great. They didn't look great, but like they You win
Well,
two, you
I
lose
guess
one.
when
you're
I look
looking
at
good.
like the stats, like the two players that stand out to me, Scump and Formal, like TTP, did not have a good weekend search wise. And when did they have success? When those two played well in search, especially Scump. And
When Scump's playing well in S&D, that's big.
He's the
yeah,
factor,
because
totally.
we always talk about Chicago and like the old Optic teams, like they come out of the gates hot, they play all these S&D tournaments, and I think like sort of what TeeP was saying is they get to their defaults. They don't really update them until they lose a few events in a row, or maybe they try to steal others type things. So that's the one thing for me with Chicago. I do think the one other team that can be very innovative in search alongside Atlanta is probably Dallas. I would probably look at the Dallas Empire, just like with the minds that are on that team. But I'm nervous for Dallas just because respawns wise. So I'm nervous for Chicago and S&D. I'm nervous for Dallas and respawns. So I'm young Faze.
Very good. Yeah, my point on the Chicago S&D was like more like stat based, like the fact that multiple Envoy was slam dunking people in S&D. Envoy was doing everything, like just the guy's unreal. Big fan of Envoy.
He's been unreal this entire year.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And multiple
Even
roads, like. Anyways,
we also have some breaking news if we want to talk about it.
Ooh,
I put the tweet in the chat. Infinity Ward has provided a new update about cheaters and what they're doing.
Wait, where?
I put the tweet in Discord. They are deploying additional dedicated security updates. Great. They are updating matchmaking to match suspected cheaters together. So imagine you're in that game where the cheaters are playing against one another. Increased resources across backend studios. I imagine, again, I think they're just ramping everything up, and then they're a report a player functionality, kill cam, and spectate mode. So
we're gonna get confirmation if we report someone in their band. I kind of like that actually.
Yes, that's the other part. So I know that was a big talking point. I don't know if we're gonna get an anti-cheat. I think we talked about where to me, the anti-cheat, if they have another BR, would probably be next game, right? Like to me, like to develop an anti-cheat, I imagine just takes time. I would hope that's what this means, but it doesn't sound like that. I feel like they would say something, but they're trying to do what they can.
At least it's an effort.
Yeah, it's an effort. And they've talked about it, right? That's the one thing we've really been.
I've asked for transparency. I've asked for something. This is it. Yes. I hope it's not just a blanket statement like, hey, we promise we're doing something.
To shut us up.
To shut us up, right?
No, this sounds legit.
It sounds legit.
It sounds awesome.
It sounds legit. Yeah, great. Nice.
I think the lobbies with cheaters against each other is the funniest.
Dude, imagine you put into that though. Imagine put into it.
Yeah, you're like TeeP. You drop 40 the game before. Suddenly you're in this lobby. Why everyone's aim locking?
And wait, you just watch it, and it's just a battle of like.
Dude, just watching that.
I would love to watch cheaters versus cheaters, bro. It's probably insane. Oh my god.
A gauntlet. It'd probably be so fun. Everybody would just be getting melted.
It would be funny. Well,
who can
the
wall
problem
bang
is
better?
the cheaters were good cheaters too. I'm talking like the cheaters that like know what they're doing and not missing. Obviously, like that'd be hilarious. Oh my god.
The ones that can actually like move around and like.
Well, really quick before we go, I guess like how hard? Like I don't understand. So is it like you said like anti-cheat for next game? Like is it that hard to put an anti-cheat into a game? Like,
I would imagine.
You would imagine. Like I'm not. This is me. I'm not being like condescending. Like I'm actually asking. I don't know.
I don't think anyone's
know enough. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. It's just in my imagination. Like, again, we talked about like. I don't know if they honestly had one. If they thought it was going to be as bad as it was. So now they're probably like, okay, what can we do while we develop this? Right. That's what I would. That's what I would think. And then hopefully they can bring one out. I mean, I would love if that in 3 months or in a month, like they did have one, but I just don't know how that is.
Well, my thing is just like the only reason why I've always been like or like the devil's advocate side of it is just look who we're talking about developers wise, right? We're talking about like I just feel like they're capable of anything they want to put their mind to. In my opinion,
I don't know if
but
this is
that
a
could be.
thing
But that's what I'm saying. That could be
Activision
so
thing.
ass backwards wrong, and that's why I'm actually genuinely asking. I'm not saying like that's like the way I view it, but that could be the most wrong mentality ever. And I've had situations in the past where I've thought like that, and then like I learned the actual behind the scenes, and I'm like, holy shit! If I was actually publicly stating that, I would have looked like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? So like that's why I'm actually asking. I'm not trying to say that with confidence and be like, I can't believe this. So I don't know. I just was.
Well,
I was
my
curious if
guess
anyone
is like they obviously realize how big of an issue is.
Mhm.
If there's, I would hope the free to play cross play model is working out well. I mean, you see the
Seems like
numbers.
it
It
is,
seems
yeah.
to be. So they would want to keep it. So my mind is just that, like, hopefully the next BR or next Call of Duty sticks that way, and then they have it ready. I mean, that just is like, maybe they can get it ready in 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is.
Quick thing. Is
Yeah.
this the, like, we've all been gaming forever. Is this the worst experience with cheaters you guys have ever had?
No, CS is, well, this is probably close.
For me,
CS
it's
is
far
bad.
and away like, this is insane. I've never seen anything like this before in any of
I'm
the
not
games that I
experienced
played.
enough in other
So
games.
CS was always wild because, like, to the level that people, like, there were spin bots. So basically, you could buy the Negev, hold the trigger, and you would just spin, and it would just be all headshots. Like,
Whoa.
it was wild. Like, Clint could
Yeah.
probably talk about it too. Like, CS, the thing is people on CS2 were like smart about it, not like what we see.
Well,
So
can you, like,
Well,
soft lock and
it was the
stuff?
wallers
Yeah.
that were like really hard
Yeah.
to tell because it was just if they were good at the game,
Yeah.
the hardest ones are the ones that were good at the game that would use
Yep.
walls because it'd
Right.
be really really hard to tell. Like there were times where I'd use Overwatch or whatever their system was, and like it would take me like 10 rounds to really be sure if the person was cheating because they're just good at like hiding it.
yeah,
But like it is. I remember reading about this a little bit though. Like it is super, super, super hard to get good anti-cheat. I mean, it's not.
That's
it's
what I'm-
not
yeah,
an
that's
ea-
why I
it's
was
not
asking,
an
yeah.
easy thing, and like they're always a step behind. You need to think of it like.
there's
it's
always
not the
someone
same.
trying
It's not
to
the
get
same
their
as like
hack out there.
yes, and like
Yeah.
you'll have a ban wave. They'll make new stuff. You'll have a ban wave. They'll make new stuff. They're always going to be cheaters, no matter how
Yeah, no,
hard
I know
think
that,
you,
yeah.
you work to deal with it. But like it's just a shit show, right? It's the
It's a
Wild
lot.
Wild West right now. It's so bad.
Yeah.
What 50 to 75% of our games every morning have cheaters. It's absurd. So I anything they can do to improve it. It's just they need to go beyond the report mechanic. Like the report, like I was joking with Doug yesterday. I was like, oh, they banned 100,000 people. Great, it's a free to play game. And Doug responded, 100,000 banned, 100,000 created. Like they're literally just going to make a new account. Like there has to be something beyond what they were originally doing. And it seems like they're. What's the
They're
one
aware
line?
of it.
What was the one line? You put it in the Discord, right? Like
Yeah.
what in our Discord or this call?
And no, in
in
like our
in
Discord we
ours,
play in.
ours. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Because what was the one line? Which I don't know what it means.
It was like working
Yeah,
on the back
deployed-
end.
deployed additional dedicated security updates. So I don't know what that means exactly, but I don't know.
See, that's the stuff that, like, what does that mean? Like, when I talk about I want transparency, please explain. That sounds like BS to me.
Well, this is the first time they haven't just said it's about reporting. Like everything
Right.
I've seen from the beginning has been, oh, we're updating ways that you can report in game. Report. Like that shit doesn't matter. Yes,
Yeah.
it matters. Like you need to report for them to find people, but like it can't purely be reporting. Or this is just a problem. Not with a free to play game. If this
Right.
wasn't a free to play game,
Well-
sure, report away. It'll solve itself. But
by the time we reported, it already ruined my game. I was like, all right, I'm pissed.
yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, you would hope that, like, I don't
Here's what the
know.
break time boys need. If any Infinity Ward or Activision people end up listening to this podcast, watch our streams for the first 4 hours and just be ready. We'll have a list for you every single day. That's it.
That one day with Chris, man, I legitimately think I reported and blocked
Today
30
was
people in
bad,
3
too.
hours span.
Yeah.
Yeah, today was really bad. The first
Today
2.5
was really bad.
hours.
Wait, really?
Yes.
I actually got lucky today.
Like really
I got-
bad. Wow. But
Well, actually,
Yeah.
no. You know what? I didn't get lucky because I was playing with Symphony, Noah J, and Train, and I played with them, and I think we backed out of like 15 lobbies that one of them had someone. You know what I'm saying? Like one of them had someone blocked or
Blocked.
something.
That's why.
So maybe I didn't get lucky. You guys know me. I'm just in my own little bubble. So they were just backing out of
The
games,
mouse
and I was
players
like, all right,
got it.
bet.
The mouse players
Yeah,
got
so,
even worse, bro.
yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
that makes more sense. So I probably didn't get lucky. They probably just. I think they protected me, and I was just in my own little world.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well, that's good news. I mean, it's something. I hope it really goes a long
Steps
way.
forward are always
and
better than steps backwards.
I love to see. I love to see extra effort. So we'll see if
Yes.
it means something in the coming weeks.
Dude, Activision has all the money. Just go find every anti-cheat or every cheat site and just buy them all.
Yeah,
And have
right.
them all come work under the Activision umbrella. And they'll help you stop other cheaters. It's just, it's
It's
just
a-
money.
That's a great plan. Clint's
Well,
like,
I mean, some
What
of the
was the
dudes-
thing
some
for
of those
Valorant?
dudes- didn't some of those dudes get arrested? Like they find the people in like China and Korea and like arrest them. Like they put them in
Really?
jail. Like the people that
Really?
create the hacks, they track them down and they put them in jail.
Well,
yeah.
that's the thing Valorant was doing. Isn't
Yes.
Those
Isn't
people
Valorant
make
paying
bank,
money
bro.
to have people like try to hack their game?
Yeah, yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah,
They put
if you can do it, you get a reward for it. Yeah.
That's smart. Activision, come on.
Wait, that's really cool. So if I can hack Valorant, like I get a
Yeah.
reward for it,
Yeah.
so, like so they can see how I hacked them, so they can then turn it down.
You
Right.
get like a cash reward. It's actually like crazy.
that's pretty
I want to
badass.
say it's like 50 grand, but I could have just made that number up.
Sounds
Wait,
like-
imagine. So
sounds like
that
some
that's like
FBI
literally like
shit,
I
bro.
want you to expose me on my flaw,
Yeah.
so then I can.
Dude, what's
fix
that movie
my
Swordfish, dude? Remember with
That's
Hugh
cool.
Jackman? They hired him to like hack stuff, and he was a hacker. Come on, you guys have seen Swordfish? Oh, it was like 2001. You guys
I
were,
have
like,
never seen
6.
any movie in the world. I saw
Oh,
Memento for the
man.
first time.
Yeah,
like,
Hugh
You-
Jackman, John Travolta, Halle Berry.
Actually, I have seen that. Yeah, I have seen that.
I just remember he was like a hacker. They hired him to like hack some shit or hack. There's hacking.
Clint,
hack,
figure,
hack.
Clint, figure it out, man. Like, use your
Yeah, let's go. Come on, Kamish.
commish.
Yeah,
Figure,
dude.
talk to somebody.
Just put them all in a room and let me drop kick the fuck out of you.
On that note, that's going to be at the end of the episode, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, for listening. I hope you guys enjoy watching the Chicago home series this weekend. We'll have a new episode for you guys as soon as we see what happens, and we'll break it all down for you. As always, guys, follow us on all our social medias, sub to our YouTubes, sub to our Twitch channels, and we'll see you for the next episode. Goodbye.